Hey, welcome to the Range Joe's God and Country Show. Looking at the 5th of September, Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a great day. We're with Eric Dempsey on Dempsey's Resolution Fitness Hour here. Feeling good, looking good. This guy is amazing, I'll tell you what. And he's going to hear and tell us how we can get healthy. I'm watching right now on the my own little personal doohickey here. I'm going to turn the volume down so we don't all hear the, what do we call that, backdrop or whatever?
Yeah.
But welcome. Welcome, Eric.
Hey, I'm here again.
And we're also
another week. Yay!
Get more of his face there. Okay. There we
Woo!
go.
Hey, how about that, huh?
All right. I think we're gonna get on that. All right. There we go. All right. Oh, there we go. We're here. Miss Pat's here, and she's doing some good stuff out there. And it's another day, another dollar in Columbus, K-I-L-L-U-M-B-U-S.
Yeah, right.
Wow, I'll tell you what.
Killtown.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Come to Columbus and
the two-way rifle range.
yeah, on that. There's two things when you come to Columbus. When you go outside, you want to carry a Bible and a gun. You may need either one.
Yeah.
On that. And,
body armor recommended.
Body armor recommended. I'll tell you what. Unbelievable. Won't go into that. We'll get more of that into when we do the watch, but it's a sad situation. But yet another reason you should be taking care of yourself. So let's jump right into it with Eric Dempsey, and let's talk about health can never be divorced. I don't like that word. Divorced from strength by George. Oh, this is a book, I guess. Health can never be divorced from strength by George Hackenschmidt.
Yeah.
Hackenschmidt.
Health can never be divorced from strength, isn't that?
That's a kind of a esoteric message.
Yeah, that's an epic one, right? Yeah, that's one I've been preaching for a long time, And basically what that means is everything, the foundation of all health and fitness, when there's one common factor, a lot of people think it's cardiovascular conditioning or cardiorespiratory training, aerobics, but it's actually not. It's strength. So what you want as your foundation underneath all the different types of training and all the different things about health and nutrition and lifestyle.
A large caliber handgun?
A large caliber handgun and a big dose of strength. A big frosty glass of strength, it will take you a long way. So, and if you don't know who George Hackenschmidt is, he's an old time, one of the old gurus of physical culture and an old strength man and an old someone who was very involved in athletics and all types of weight training and stuff, and lived to a ripe old age in his 90s or so. And that was one of his big quotes. He was saying that all health, stems out of strength, and that's, when you think about it, that's very true. And if the medical community would get on board with it, people might actually survive longer, because strength provides the foundation. You look at everything that goes on, like in today's society, when you're eating a crappy diet, you start getting osteoporosis, you start getting all these terrible things happening, you're falling apart because you're listening to what your doctor says, and you're not eating this and you're not eating that, and you're getting weaker, and your bone mineral density's falling apart, and you're weak, but you're doing your cardio, right? So you're eating all your muscle up, and so your bones are weak, and then, next thing you know, you step off a curb and you shatter a hip with the glass hip syndrome, right? And you're done. That's one of the surefire ways to end your life as an older person in today's country.
Well, if I may, I actually have a interesting, saying that kind of illustrates what you're talking about.
Okay.
It's one of the few things I remember from years ago when I was doing some training, and should continue to do trainings, but stopped on that. But I remember this one, and is that people talk about out there and going out there, and they've got to bring this to them, and that this is where they're going to find that. And it was the saying that strength comes from within. And that a neat way to illustrate that to yourself is to take your hands together, like you're praying, and push them out as far as you can, out there, and then push them together as hard as you can, and feel the strength. Then pull it close to your chest here, and push. And of course, as you know, when you do this, you have incredibly more strength. You feel much more powerful, and that's why people tend to take a jar when they're doing they pull it up here and do that. And the lesson there from my sensei was that the strength comes from within, not out there.
Yes and no. Okay, I can show you something to counteract that whole concept too.
Listen, you can't. I'll have to cut you off on that because it was my one thing. Now, give me my one, okay?
It's like everything is true in context. See, that's the world we live in, the world of context.
So what you should be saying, you should be saying that you should be saying to me, yes, grasshopper, this is true, but your vision is limited by the smoke in front of you. Let me clear it.
Clouded by your smoky illusions.
See, then I go,
yes. Reach your hand into the boiling water.
Oh.
Okay. No,
I'm alive.
But the thing of strength is, underneath it all, the reality is we need strength because strength is the foundation that provides all the other aspects of health, right? So, when we look at things, bone mineral density, your skeletal frame, your posture, that all has to do with musculature and skeletal stuff, right? Connective tissue and all these other things. And it's all based on your lean body mass and your muscle, okay? It's what holds you together. Muscle and strength is what propels motion. It's like your muscles hold everything, make everything happen. Without muscle, nothing happens. Plus, all the good stuff in life that goes on in your body, most of it originates in the mitochondria within the muscle cells. So, like, everything that goes on has to do with muscle. If you don't have muscle, you basically don't have bone health. You don't have connective tissue health because that's a sure sign that you're lean body mass. Lean body mass encompasses everything good in your body. And most crash dieting, most of the weight loss stuff we do now is about losing lean body mass while retaining body fat and getting weaker and shriveling up and getting smaller. And somehow we think that's good and society condones that, but it's not. It's not good. And so strength is the foundation. When you look at all the sports training, when you read all the sports books, now keeping in mind that, everything that I study and everything that I say comes from all the studies that I do because I am still an eternal white belt college student, going through night after night, having to read studies and write papers and take tests and all this stuff, just like the old days.
Hold your book close here.
Yes, take your book and take your book and I'll hold it close to the fire.
Don't do that. It's very.
I'll have to show you the counter experiment to that to disprove your method, but.
Fine.
We'll document that as
it's like we're married sometimes.
Exhibit A. So strength is the ultimate thing that makes everything work. So, if you want health, if you want fitness, if you want to look good, muscle and strength is underneath it all. It is the foundation. It's where you have to start from. So without strength training, without resistance training, without building muscle and burning fat, there is nothing good that's going to come about. All the cardio in the world can't exist without muscle, without strength. Because strength is what's going to keep your skeleton jogging down the road.
Little humor here. That's a powerful statement.
Yeah. And so, underneath it all, the bottom line is it all comes back to strength. Not cardio, not aerobics, not all this. You still need all these other facets of the fitness realm, the physical culture, but every aspect of like sports training all goes back. The foundation is strength. Every aspect of martial arts comes back to, they say, you don't have to be strong. You got to be strong. If you're going to, if you're going to engage in mortal combat with somebody, you have to have some muscle and you need to be strong and you need to be able to fight. All that crap about like, you don't need to be, good luck with that, Some little.
Hey, wait a minute now. I'm like on level 5 of Mortal Kombat, and I haven't had to have any of that stuff. I can eat some potato chips and be
drinking a soda.
At the same time, and I can get right in there into level 5.
Exactly, right? I'm talking about real Mortal Kombat, like a trench line in North Korea, that's need a little bit of strength there. So strength is the fundamental thing for all good things in the universe. So, and the beauty of it is, like, when everybody talks about cardio, what do I say when how do you do cardio? You just lift weights faster, right? And you cover both things with one shot. So it's all about efficiency and doing things that make more sense and are more productive as opposed to just listening to the old archaic stuff that hasn't worked for decades. So strength. So hit the weights, eat your protein, get strong. You be healthy.
All right, let's now move on to your over and under estimating calorie and macronutrient intake. I like it over and under. Some people like the side by side, but I like it over. Oh, I'm sorry, different thing here.
Yeah.
Over and under estimating your calorie and macronutrient intake. It's weird. Just yesterday, I was sitting there on the side of the road, and I was sitting there estimating my macronutrient intake, and I said, Pat, I think I'm overdoing this. She said, no, I think you're underdoing it.
Exactly.
So what's the real story on that?
So aside from it being scientifically proven that people do this, right? Like
you hold that macronutrient right here.
If you hold it right there and apply pressure, isometric contraction, So, but the people are notorious for I coach people in nutrition every day, and I ask them, I was like, hey, how's the food doing? And they're like, oh man, it's doing great. Everybody tells me, it's like, well, obviously your numbers aren't looking too good, so it can't be doing that great, right? Because the numbers don't lie. So you have a tendency to do is, your body is trying to tell you you're doing fabulous because it doesn't want you to make progress, because it doesn't want you to have stress. All your body cares about is the stressors, do you have the red whoopee light going off on the stress meter or not? If your body is within, the zone it's always trying to get to homeostasis, right? That is a place where there's zero stress, everything is neutrally buoyant, and everything is fine, right? Well, of course, when you're trying to get in shape and do all these crazy things, your stuff is going to be totally, stressed, right? So being challenged, even if it's positive, your body, that's another thing, your body doesn't acknowledge positive or negative stress, it only acknowledges stress. So, when you're in a place where your body's starting to plateau, your body is going to send you signals, right, via endorphins and all these other different neat little tricks your brain has to tell you you're doing fabulous, man. Don't even worry about it, You feel full. You don't have any needs. You don't feel like you need to do anything. You feel like you're good, And so when people ask you, hey, how's the food doing? It's like, oh man, I'm doing great. I'm on it. I feel good. I'm doing great. That's because your body's optimized to the less than efficient system that you're working with, and you're not doing great at all. You're misrepresenting the facts because your body's trying to square you away. So what happens is people either they overdo it or they underdo it. They basically say oh man, I'm not eating enough of this. I gotta eat more of that when they're eating already too much of it. Or they say, oh man, I'm eating plenty of that, like protein. Most people will say, oh yeah, I'm good on protein, man. And they're not even close because first off, you gotta know how much protein am I supposed to be eating, right? That's the critical thing. Before you say you're good on anything, make sure you know what you're supposed to be doing. You need to know what you are actually doing and what you were supposed to be doing to have any kind of correlation to see the result, right? A plus B equals C. Well, you got to have all the data to get to that C part, right? You got to know what you're supposed to be doing, the task condition standard, right? And then the result of the performance, the action, and then you can calculate what happened. You're either a success or a failure. And so most people do not represent themselves well when they try to analyze this stuff without actually doing a food journal. If you're not calculating stuff, you don't know how many calories there are, So,
Sound check, sorry.
Sound check. I was like, man, I'm hearing somebody talk. It sounds familiar. So, you want to make sure that you understand the numbers that are involved with this stuff because there's more to it. It's not just oh, I'm doing good, man. You're not doing good. And in fact, 99.99% of the time when I ask somebody that and they tell me, oh, dude, I'm doing great, they're not. Okay? In fact, I don't ever recall anybody ever saying that to me, thinking they were doing good. and then checking their numbers, checking their body fat percentage and their weight and their waist measurement and all their stuff, and seeing like, oh yeah, they're good, man. They were right on. So they've never been right on. So it's almost guaranteed that if you think you're doing good, you're not, okay? And that's a sure sign that you need to check your numbers and you need to get a grip on what's going on, because if you think you're eating enough protein, I can guarantee you, you're probably way, way off, especially women, okay? And, it's like protein is one of the critical things, and don't listen to these buffoons that are out there telling you, you can eat a handful of kale leaves and, that's enough. All right, it's not. It's not. The science says different. See, you can't pick and choose which part, you can't, what they call cherry picking science. You can't cherry pick science, all right? When you got a scientific study out there that says, X, Y, and Z, and then you get another study out there that says, A, B, and C, you can't go through both of these studies and just pick out the different lines out of each one and to support your crazy theory, right? That ain't how it works. So science shows the latest studies from the last couple of years, like even this year, show that protein requirements have been underestimated by everybody for decades, okay? So the RDA, the USDA's RDA for protein has always been low. And now they're starting to say, well, you might possibly need more protein if you're more active, but you do. You need a lot more protein, okay? And you need a lot more protein just in general. And senior citizens, older adults, people like Joe, they need a lot. They need a lot of protein, And yeah, well, I'm getting there too rapidly, right? I just had my birthday yesterday. I turned 49, so I'm getting old too, and I need to start eating more protein. But I try to eat more protein, and I'll tell you what, for someone who actually tries to hit the numbers without overestimating their intakes, it's difficult. It's difficult for me, and I try every day really hard. So if you're not tracking on like what you're supposed to be doing, man, you can forget it. There's no way you're even close to what you're supposed to be doing, because you have no idea what it takes to eat right. Okay, people just don't have any clue. When you're eating whole foods, and my example is baked chicken, almonds, right, and broccoli. So the baked chicken is the protein. The almonds is the fat. The broccoli is the carbohydrates. Yes, believe it or not, vegetables and fruits are carbohydrates, right? That's why they call them fibrous carbohydrates. And, don't ask me. I just got in my zillionth nutrition class. I just got a 99 last semester, which is pretty good. I was kind of bummed out I didn't get 100, but,
Pretty good.
99,
Jeez.
99 wasn't bad.
I think there's some underestimating of micronutrients.
Yeah.
Stuff going
Somebody
on.
was underestimating. I think the teacher was underestimating my grade there. Shortened me a whole point like that. But yeah, so the thing is like you can't guesstimate this stuff. You have to write it down. If you really want to know, you need to do a food journal. Get on one of these online apps, track your food, do the calories up, and figure out what your calories are supposed to be. If you want to understand real quick, how do I figure out what my calories are supposed to be? You can do this. I'll give you this formula real quick, all right?
You take your hands.
Yeah, take your hands.
I'm sorry.
Cover up Joe's mouth so he can't talk anymore, and then squeeze hard until the kicking stops. So.
Oh.
Alrighty then.
Okay.
Alrighty then. So, all right. So if you really want to do it, calculate this real quick. So you're going to take your body weight, right, and you're going to multiply it times your activity level. Your activity level we're going to use
is 0.
Yeah. How about sedentary, right? So that would be a numerical equivalent of 13. That would be 13 for an activity level. So body weight times 13 gives you your sedentary. Basically, that is your maintenance calories, okay? So that's the calories. If you don't want to make anything happen, you stick with those calories. So that would be body weight times 13. And then you're going to go ahead and multiply that subtract 500 calories from that, right, to get your caloric deficit. And that would be your dieting calories. That's for someone who's not very active, very sedentary. Like if you're in a body cast with 2 broken legs and you're laying on your bed watching Netflix all day. That would be a 13, okay? Body weight times 13 minus 500. So if you're moderately active, you go do yoga once a week and you go for a jog and, you're not really that active, then it would be 14. Body weight times 14 minus 500, give you your moderate activity level, right? That would be your dieting calories for moderate activity. For super active, for active people, all right? So that means you worked all day, you work out multiple times a week, you're really hitting it hard all the time, and you're a very active person, which most people are. All right, now you're going to talk about body weight times 15 minus 500 gives you your caloric deficit, and that's going to be your dieting calories for a very active person, okay? Now, when you look at those numbers, they're pretty big. They're pretty big because you need more food than you think. You need total calories, and you need the correct macronutrient ratio to support your goals. Not what anybody else said, right? You need the correct calories and the correct macronutrient ratio to support your goals. Your goals, not anybody else's. Not Fred's or Dr. Tom's or anybody else's. Your goals. What are you trying to do? You trying to put on muscle, lose fat, do this, do that, go to the moon, climb Mount Everest? What are you trying to do? You need a specific number of stuff for that, okay? So that's what you got to figure out. And if you need help with that, you can contact me and I can help you get that answer. And then, once you have the answer of what you're supposed to be doing, then you need to start tracking your calories to see where you're at and what your macronutrient ratio really is. And if you use like fitday.com or MyFitnessPal or one of the numerous different calorie counter programs that you can get on your apps and the app stores, go ahead and get one of them and knock it out and see what's really going on and compare the two numbers. And you're going to be drastically surprised. Like, you'll be like, wow, odds are you're under-eating by a lot. Now, if you're eating fast food and crappy food all the time, you'll probably be over calories, which isn't really, the ridiculousness of it. Even with people eating, 1 or 2 fast food meals a day, they're still not really overdoing it that much. So the big thing is, if you have 3 fast food meals a day and a couple Starbucks and a couple of this and a couple of that, yeah, you're probably overdoing it a lot. But if you're eating...
Wait, that was like a normal day for me. What now?
Yeah, so you can imagine the cutbacks that had to go on in the Coley diet, but... But that was back in the day. See, now you're on starvation mode, so you get to have your salt chicken and your chips and your bowl of chicken.
That was really mean. I'm sorry, buddy. I have to go get a jacket because it just got very cold in here.
Oh man, you're killing me.
You mean what I ate last night at your birthday party?
Yeah.
Drive-through? Okay.
He throws a birthday party and he sits there and does that to me right in front of me. Man, that's it.
You ate pretty well, if I remember right.
I ate everything. Yeah, see, I didn't skimp on my food.
But he bless his heart. It was his birthday. I told him to get whatever he wanted.
He made me eat so much. I had my whole caloric intake. I didn't underestimate that.
And it actually was one of those. I think now that I think about it, it was one of those things where like Misery Loves Company. Like I was trying to. He was my surrogate eater. And
yeah,
I really wanted all that.
I was eating for him for sure, because man, I felt like I was eating for an entire country. Because man, I ate more food. I ate my whole calorie intake plus right there at that meal. But it was really good.
It was impressive. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was like 2 chimichangas, the whole deal. Anyway, so
these were some,
big. This plate was huge. I ate it all.
But
and then ice cream.
He's a growing boy.
I need calories, man. But the sad thing is I probably just about broke even, because that was actually, there was a lot of vegetables in there. There was tomato and lettuce, and there was all kind of guacamole and, the rice, and man.
There was a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah. I stirred it all up into a big vat of stuff and rocking a big vat, and I wolfed it down like a hungry dog. And because I fasted all day.
It was his birthday. He can do that on his birthday.
So, but the reality was I didn't eat all day, and so that was actually probably after the ice cream and the awesome
key lime pie.
The key lime pie afterwards that finished me off. I was about done, but I probably just about broke even on calories right now.
Actually, we're being inaccurate now. It wasn't key lime pie. It was key lime mango.
Mango.
And Gary Hartman just joined us. Pastor Hartman, how are you? Welcome.
So I didn't underestimate my calorie intake that day or my macronutrient ratio. I was like well within my means there, but most people do. So you got to calculate those numbers. You got to figure out where you're at, and you got to know the answer, because if you just go off of how you feel, like, oh man, I know I'm doing great, you're not doing great at all. That's a surefire. In fact, that's the number one thing when someone tells me they're doing great. I'm like, I need to see a food journal, because you're not doing great. Okay, I can guarantee when I check their numbers at the end of that week, they're not doing great. They're going to be, 9 out of 10 times the calories are low, the macronutrients off, the fat's up, the lean muscles down. That's bad. Okay, so and that requires more chow. Okay.
By the way, just a little quick for our viewers out there, whoever and wherever they may be. We are working on, and I think I'm pretty confident about this, that very soon we are going to be back on the actual radio.
Awesome.
We're still going to do our YouTube and our Facebook.
Yeah.
All that, but actually be on the regular radio too, so we're working on that. Well, let me get to this third question, which, it's just like, I just want to say, tell me this isn't so, okay?
Oh, man.
I mean, what is this? Hazards of grilling meat. That's the American. It's part of it's in our Constitution.
Grilling meat.
It's the 29th Amendment.
Yeah.
I must grill. It's an American tradition.
You got to grill, right? So.
I mean.
Anyway, so grilling meat. All right. So there's all these kind of people. All the meat haters out there, right?
See what I put right there? Say no.
Say no. It can't be. So all the haters out there that don't like, like all your tree hugging, tree bark and grass eating. I love you people, but they don't like.
Come on, you sugarcoating.
Yeah, they don't like the meat eaters, right? So us people with the incisor teeth and stuff that like to eat red meat.
My saying is.
What's that?
The more pita is the more mita that we eat.
Yeah. So when you slap the old steak on the grill, the end state is if you cook it too long, what happens is all the stuff drips down into the fire. The fire, the charcoal stuff mixes with the fat, creates a smoke that's supposed to just engulf your steak in all these chemicals that are carcinogenic, and it's supposed to make just your red meat even worse for you than it already is, being red meat by itself. All right, so
in other words, the 10,000 years people have been doing that, we've just been killing ourselves.
Killing us, yeah. So if you ask one of the plant-eating doctors, they'll tell you, you're done, you're going to die. So anyway, the solution is, right, number one, maybe wrap some foil around your stuff so it doesn't all drip down into the coals. Make sure the thing's clean so it doesn't have all kind of chunks of stuff that can like heat up and catch on fire and cause carcinogenic smoke.
Wow, there's an idea.
Yeah.
Clean.
Clean, and maybe use foil or something. And then, you don't want to be slapping the steak on, right over the coals where all the ashes and all the smoke and everything's going right up into the meat that you're going to put in your mouth, right? So there is some science-based stuff behind that. There's PCBs and all these other kind of chemical stuff and all these things and stuff, all these big words. But the end state is don't overcook your meat too. Okay, overcooking your meat tends to cause carcinogenic properties.
Okay, one thing too, if you hold it way out here, it's very bad. You need to hold your steak very close to you when you're cooking.
Yeah. Hold it right to your face by the fire, so you can singe off all your eyebrows.
That's right. When you get black eye, and Dad would put a raw steak on it. How could that be bad?
Yeah, that one wasn't overcooked. See, yeah. So don't overcook your steak. So you want the reality is as close to rare as you can get it, the better. That's the reality, and you don't want well done steaks. You don't want charcoaled steaks.
Lions are carnivores. That's all they eat is meat.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Have you ever seen a fat lion?
Exactly.
They can run pretty fast.
Yeah, and
they don't do like me. They don't go. I mean, when they're after the gazelle. I mean,
but what the plant eaters say is the response to that is, well, the biggest, most powerful animals on the planet eat plants.
My response to that would be, I look at it and say, okay, so you're telling me that mushroom right there, that plant is not, that will kill me if I even have it touch my mouth. So in other words, what you're having to admit to me is that there are plants that are bad for you too, right? Oh, now you know.
Well, science has proven that plants, they know when you're killing them, right? They have feelings too. I'm an advocate for plant rights,
If you really get down there close and
you can hear them screaming.
You can hear them. It's kind of a weird scream.
When you snap those roots off, boy, yeah, forget it. So anyway. Yeah, never mind the jaguars, cheetahs, pumas, lions,
tigers. But the key to that is don't when you snap it, don't do it way out on the end. Do it real close.
Keep it in close, yeah, so you get that isometric contraction.
On that.
So the big thing with the steaks and grilling, don't worry about it. Just don't, if you burn stuff so it's black, then yeah, whatever evil red meat kind of stuff that could happen, that's where it's going to be, in the black charred death of your steak or hot dog or your hamburger patty. Keep an eye on your grill. If it turns black, throw it out. It's probably not cool, and it's probably going to taste like garbage anyway and be like a cinder block. So
yeah. Here's a thought. I hate to be sarcastic, but that at times it's appropriate. If you take a steak and grill it over kerosene or something like that, probably it's not going to be good there.
Yeah, kerosene, yeah. That's probably not cool, yeah.
If you light some of this, this flammable gel stuff that's made, it says right on the package, do not cook with this.
Yeah.
It says right here, do not cook with this.
If you're using, or like melting plastics and different.
Yeah, and it says right on there, do not cook with this.
Yeah. So, you don't want the smoke and all the stuff from some kind of contaminant to go up into the meat, which is what they're saying, right? They're saying the fat drips down and the smoke mixing with the charcoal causes the the stuff to create toxic chemicals that go up into the meat. So anyway, to avoid all that, just don't overcook your meat. Keep it elevated up off the coals, and try keeping it clean and using a little foil or something. And keep it medium rare-ish, as rare as you can tolerate it. And you'll be fine, and you'll get your protein in and be strong and healthy, and you won't have to worry about eating tree bark. Okay, so don't worry about your grilling, just don't overcook your meat.
All right, let's see this next one. This one's kind of interesting to me. So, HIIT, that's the little code you use for a computer, right?
Yeah.
How does that affect...
HIIT, high intensity interval training.
Oh, I thought that was that stuff, like at HTTP, www.
Yeah, no.
Not that one, wrong one?
No, yeah, totally like missing it. Yeah,
okay.
Forget it, Joe.
Well, it kind of look like it.
Yeah.
You see, if you look at it, it does look like it, kind of at a glance.
Yeah, no.
Can I make one point?
Sure.
See, if you hold it way out there, it doesn't look like
that.
that.
But if you hold it in close.
Okay, see, it looks just like that.
Now I can see clearly, yeah.
Boy, I'm just really stuck on it today, aren't I?
Man. So, I'm going to show him something that's going to just burst his bubble and destroy his world. Yeah, man. All right, so high intensity interval training, right? So, this is the bottom line. When you're doing cardio, everybody says you got to do cardio, right? If you're going to do cardio, it needs to be either really, really slow, what's called low intensity, or it needs to be really, really high, right? Or a combination of the two. It's the middle ground, the steady state cardio that your doctor tells you to do, that you want to avoid at all costs, because people die from that, okay? Enlarged hearts, ventricles, all that kind of stuff, like getting all kind of scar tissue, and all kind of bad things. Remember, marathon runners die during the marathon, right? They don't die when they're eating hot dogs up in the stand watching the other fat guy run by. So, low intensity cardio is really good for you. It's low impact, and it has a lot of fat burning properties, and it's longevity wise, it's going to protect your joints, and it's really good for just about everybody. And then sprinting, okay? And sprinting means moving as fast as you can by whatever means available, whether it be on an elliptical machine, whether it be on a seated bike, whether it be bike riding, swimming. It's about going as fast as you can in whatever modality of training that you can muster. It doesn't matter, right? High intensity interval training can be applied in any capacity with any kind of movement. It doesn't have to be running, right? You don't need to run. In fact, running is the last thing on earth you want to do. You want to sprint. If you are going to run, you need to sprint. You need to walk and then sprint, and then walk and then sprint. That's the key to success. The running, the jogging, and all the stuff in between is the stuff that's really, really damaging to you. It's very inflammatory. It's very damaging to your joints, and it's just doesn't really have any payoff. And there's really no transference to jogging around the park other than blowing your kneecaps off, hurting your back and your feet, right? It's really not going to do you any good. So what you want to do is high-intensity interval training is in whatever capacity you can muster, no matter what your fitness level is, you're going to sprint. Okay, that means you're going to move as fast as you possibly can for a short duration, like 10 seconds, 15, 20 seconds. And then you're going to rest, double to triple of whatever your exertion level is. Okay, so that means you're going to go out and you're going to do like a 30-second sprint, or that could be walking as fast as you possibly can in your neighborhood. You're going to walk for 30 seconds on your watch, right? Ready, go, boom, you take off like grease lightning, you walk as fast as you can for 30 seconds, and then boom, once the 30 seconds is up, now you're going to walk really, really, really slow, barely moving, catching your breath, really taking it easy for the next 90 seconds at least. And you're going to totally lower your heart rate back down before you do your next sprint. You do that back and forth for 10, 15, 20 minutes. Number one, you're going to be crushed if you do it right. Number two, you only spent 10, 15, 20 minutes. And number three, you're going to burn more calories over the course of the next 24 to 36 hours, right, through EPOC, which is excessive post-exercise oxygen consumption, which is the total benefit of HIIT, or high-intensity training. Why sprinting and moving fast is the best, because it doesn't take much time and it burns calories for a long window after the event, as opposed to a 5-mile run where you're going to burn calories during the event. You'll burn more calories during a slower, steady cardio event during the event, right? That's a given. If I'm only sprinting for 10 or 15 minutes, I'm not going to burn that many calories during that 10 or 15 minutes. I'm going to burn a buttload of calories for the next 36 hours, which is where the payoff is, because it burns the most, it oxidizes the most fat. The next thing is so when you do your 5-mile run, you burn X number of calories. You burn more calories during the event than the HIIT training, but about 30 minutes after that, once you've done your post-run, you're cooling down, drink some water, drink some Gatorade, doing a little stretching, getting your heart rate down. About 30 minutes during that time, and then the calorie burning kind of dies off, and that's it. So whatever you got there, that was all she wrote for the rest of the day. Meanwhile, the HIIT guy, he ran a quarter of the time, 10 times as fast, for about 10, 15, 20 minutes. He was done, already back to his car, going to shower and change, and he's burning calories all the way up into the next day or more, okay? That's all the kind of stuff that science has shown. So that is what's called the time-efficient exercise intensity for optimal fat loss. High-intensity interval training, okay? Now, most people, if you're really just starting off, you probably can't get to actual high intensity is upwards of above 85% of your VO2 max and all that crap. Super exertion. As fast as you can just about humanly go before the lights go out, right? Super fast. Some people, that's not the optimal answer, but you want to get up there as high as you can, whatever's safe. They've even been shown this kind of training to be optimal now for cardiac rehab. People who have suffered different cardiac events and have been on some type of rehab exercise program, instead of doing that long, slow cardio stuff that kills people and puts you in the ground, the low intensity and the high intensity stuff is now proving to be, in studies and research, it's starting to show it to be a viable option even for recovering cardiac patients. Now, how crazy is that? I mean, if you just use traditional thinking, and if an old guy that just had a heart attack was recovering, doing some cardio, and he went out and did some sprints, you'd think he'd be dead surely right off the bat, right? Well, obviously, according to this research, that's not the case, okay? So what actually kills them off is when they start doing their 5-mile runs again, okay? The 5-mile run thing, which of course I had to do, I spent 25 years putting my time in on the road, so didn't do nothing for me, I actually, the only benefit I got was when I stopped doing it, I healed up and started getting back in shape. So, if you like running, roger that, go do your thing. But if you're running to lose weight, or if you're running for fat loss, or for some other event, some other reason other than the fact that you love running, then you're totally picking the wrong thing to do, because running only helps you run. There's zero transference in running to any other thing, okay? Any other cardio thing. Oh, you think 5-mile runs every day is going to help you, throw a pack on your back and hike up the side of a mountain, or dodge bullets in a firefight, or maybe sprint or do track and field? No, it's not going to help you do any of that. Okay, nothing at all. It's not going to help you do nothing except break your knees, break your back, burn lean body mass and all that stuff. So keep it with the sprints, low intensity, walk slow, go as fast as you can. Walk slow, lower your heart rate down, boom, wash, rinse, repeat. 15, 20 minutes a day, boom, you'll be good to go. Go eat your food. And remember, you got to eat your food, right? And also remember, during the hot weather and after you exert yourself, you got to replace those electrolytes. You got to replace that carbohydrates, right? That's when those sports drinks that you've been slamming on the couch watching the football games, that's not the time for a gallon of Powerade. The time for a gallon of Powerade is right after the soccer game, or right after you just, did whatever kind of exercise you do. That's when you drink that stuff, during and after the exercise, and before even. You maintain your glucose and your electrolyte levels. Other than that, that's about it for the HIIT. If you have any more questions about that, give me a holler. You can contact me at phone number. You can text or call. Leave a message if you call. It's 706-573-4236. 706-573-4236. You can email me at eric@dempseysresolution.com. eric@dempseysresolution.com. You can find me online on social media on just about any site. I'm just about on all the major sites. You can look for Eric Dempsey or Dempsey's Resolution Fitness across all the sites, and 9 out of 10 times you will find me. Dempsey's Resolution Fitness on Facebook. You can get on my page there. I put out tons of free stuff on Pinterest, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Google+, all these sites. Really lots of variety, lots of different stuff. Get on those sites, check them all out. My YouTube channel, Eric Dempsey, or Eric D6. Eric D6 on most of the sites if you can't get me at Eric Dempsey or Dempsey's Resolution Fitness. Okay? So I'm on there some way, somehow. You'll be able to find me if you look hard enough, because my stuff will pop up in the Google search. But get on Facebook, and you can message me on Messenger or whatever you need, and let me know if you need help. I do training online. I do consultations. If you just need to ask questions, half hour, an hour, I can handle that. There's specific rates for all those different types of things. There's reoccurring rates for continued training. I have one-time fees for just if you need nutrition help, or you need lifestyle or mindset. I do the whole thing. Food psychology coaching, wellness coaching. I do the whole fitness nutrition specialist stuff, mindset specialist stuff, and food psychology. Anything to do with lifestyle, behavior, stress management, all that stuff. Food psychology, stress management, mindset, lifestyle, weight loss, fat loss. And the big things that I do on the physical side of the house is obviously strength and conditioning, body transformation, fat loss training, and getting people lean, strong, and fast. And that's been doing that for a long time, from my martial art days, from my military days, and now for the last 10 years working with military and civilian clients. And that's about it. So if you have any questions at all, give me a holler, and stay tuned, because the ministry here is going to start putting out a newsletter. I'm going to start putting out, we have a new website we're coming up with for the ministry, a lot of new changes, and I'm going to be posting different things with the email. There's going to be that new newsletter coming out from the ministry, Chaplain Paul Voorhees Ministry. He's going to be coming out soon, and if you get a chance, sign up for that, because I'm going to be posting health and fitness tips with that, different nutrition stuff. There's going to be all kind of great information, good deals coming out for all kinds of things, like Willie Goods and the pizza place and the Back Columbus Blue, all kind of great things coming. So keep an eye out for that, and I'm working with Joe and Pat on that stuff too. So other than that, if you don't have any questions, leave comments, like, share. subscribe, the whole deal. And I appreciate all your support. And I'll be back with you next Tuesday for more on the Ranger Joe's God and Country Show with the Dempsey's Resolution Fitness Hour. You guys take care and God bless. Peace out.